Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome to my very first quick draft of Bloomburrow. If you don't know, quick drafts are the drafts you can play against bots where you have infinite time to read through all of the cards during all those picks because you're just drafting with a bunch of AI. You do end up playing against other players when it is done, but without further ado, let's just get into this one. This is going to be a quick draft with the emphasis on quick here because I do not have a lot of time to record a video today, but I need to get one up for you all. So we're going to speed run this draft. So I hope you're all ready because we're going to get started. We've got Tender Wild Guide and Emberheart Challenger as the two rares in the pack, a great red aggro card and a great green ramp card. This one doubles as a win condition though, with the ability to keep putting a +1/+1 counters on it. Plus you can offspring it and have two creatures that sit there getting bigger and bigger and bigger while helping you a ton in the early game with the ramp, which is great. For pick 2, we have a pretty easy pick. Fell is just very efficient removal. It's very straight up. It's pretty easy to see why the card's good. Super cheap to blow up whatever you need, but Intrepid Rabbit is pretty high on my pick order as well and would be a good follow-up to Wild Guide towards a green-white rabbits deck that's about flooding the board with a lot of permanents. Pick 3, I like 3-Tree Scribe a lot for green-blue frogs. Not that either of our two picks go super well there, but Wild Guide is just a really strong green card in general. There is an Intrepid Rabbit as well. Very strong card for black-white or green-white. So a little more flexible than the Scribe. Scribe's just not going to be good in green-black, really. Star Charter's nice for the black-white deck, but I think Rabbit's just so flexible, we take that. It's always going to be great. Pick 4, some great black spells here, just one okay green card. So maybe heading towards black-white here, where Starscape Cleric can be a pretty gross synergy piece with enough life gain in the deck. But I think I'm going to take the more consistent card that's good for basically any black deck, Wix Patrol. It's a really huge creature that also, on enters the battlefield, manages to destroy one of your opponent's creatures pretty much with that -X/-X ability. Super, super good card. For pick 5, Repel Calamities, a very solid white removal spell. It's not the most flexible, but it's super efficient. Alternatively, we could go a card deeper into green with Pond Prophet here, and that helps the frog path stay open, which is kind of exciting. I'll take the Prophet. Pick number 6, we've got Head of the Homestead. This is a great spell if we're in green or white. It's castable in either deck, and it's an excellent 5-drop, so it's super flexible in a spot like this, where we were probably going green-black or white-black. Either way, this fits in the deck by being either of those colors. Pick number 7, Ravine Raider's fine, and there's really not a lot in the pack, and I'm liking the black spells we've taken so far. Pick number 8, really nothing in the pack that is left. We'll take a Witness. If we go black-white in particular, this can get a lot of buffs. Pick 9, Uncharted Haven for random fixing. Pick number 10, and a ton here, a fine black draw spell with Dire Sight. Pick 11, fine removal in red, not great, but I'm fine to play one copy of it. Some more random red nonsense. And let's see what pack 2 has to offer. Ygra, Eater of All, that's a pretty great mythic rare, but we have an uncommon that I would quantify as a mythic uncommon. So Ygra is just going to be incredibly huge no matter what, and your opponent has to sack a food to target it in the first place. Hunter's Talent is going to be a removal spell that also wins board stalls by giving you trample every turn and gets you a card draw engine in the late game. I think Hunter's Talent is slightly more powerful than Ygra. Definitely more flexible. Maybe a little weaker than Ygra, but I think the flexibility is worth it, and Hunter's Talent is just an incredible card. I'm going to take it here over the Ygra. And we can play it even if we end up in like green-white here. Pack 2, pick 2. Curious Forager is a great green card in the late game. Exile a few cards from your grave or sack a food to return a permanent from grave to hand. Get a lot of stuff on board. Alternatively, Savor is great cheap removal from black. But I just took basically a green mythic, so I want to try to lock in towards green here. Pick 3 Burrow Guard Mentor is great for green-white rabbits. It's about putting a bunch of permanents on board. We've got a decent start to that with Intrepid Rabbit and Wax Wayne Witness. Mudflat Village would be the fine card for green-black, but I'm going to speculate towards the Burrow Guard Mentor there. Here's a Baker's Bane duo to fit into green-white or green-black. Great for either deck. Here's another Curious Forager, now that we've got that food token at our side. Sorry, Lily Splash Mentor, not today. I will not be frogging around every time. 3-tree Root Weaver is going to be fixing in ramp for any deck we play. Perfectly fine. Pick 7, Early Winter for high mana removal. We are not seeing a lot of white cards right now. Treetop Sentries is pretty fine. 2, but it's not super exciting. I mean, we're deep enough in green that we don't need to see too much more white to be able to go green-white if we're lucky. But green-black's looking like the more open path with what we're getting past here. Another Early Winter. Assailant or High Stride. We'll grab the High Stride. The Druid. The Nothing. And the Nothing. Pack 3, pick 1. Well, black's definitely more open, but we opened up a white mythic, so I'm just going to play Bezos over here. It's going to be all greedy. We're going to get treasures if our opponent has more lands. We're going to get life if they have more life. We're going to get 2 fish if they have more creatures. We're going to draw a card if they have more cards. So if you get 1 or 2 of these abilities, then this is an absurd rate. So Bezos is pretty good. Slap Bezos in there, drop the black spells, and just green-white token beat down. We need some non-creature spells ideally mostly right now. But the only good cards in this pack are creatures. So let's take a good creature here. None of them are great. Thistledown Players and Rampager are my favorites, but they're not even particularly high picks. I'll grab the Rampager at the top of the curve. 6-drop there. Warren Elder's a great cheap creature. Take that over Mabel's Metal, even though I'm looking for non-creatures. It's just not a premium one to me. Whereas Warren Elder's a great 2-drop. I still didn't sort out the Hunter's Talent at least, so that's another good non-creature. Okay, perfect. Banishing Light's exactly what I'm looking for here. Just a nice removal spell to fill out the deck with. Pick 5, here's a nice cheap combat trick with Crumb and Get It. Add to that non-creature spell counts. Pick number 6, another Crumb and Get It. Pick 7, Clifftop Lookout. We need a few more non-land cards to get to our 23 playables. Here's Pileated Provisioner. Here's Stargaze or Rabbit's Response. Creature count is at 16. I'm going to go aggro. Oh, wait, what am I saying? Stargaze or Rabbit Response. We're not black anymore. It's obviously just Rabbit's Response. And then a 3-tree Mascot, and that is 23 non-land cards. That's the deck. Dirtled around a little far, swapping around the colors a little too much, so we ended up with a bit of filler in here, like the 3-tree Mascot in just a 2-color deck. But it gave us access to Beza here, grabbing one of the strongest rares, the Hunter's Talent for that strong Mythic Uncommon. It is a solid spot to be, and I'm just going to hop right into the gameplay. I don't even have time to edit the video today, so I'm going to try to talk through all the loading screens here instead of cutting them out, fading in between the games. So yeah, here we are with Selesnya Rabbits. It's one of the weakest Selesnya Rabbits builds I think I've ever pulled off, but it was a speedrun draft. It is what it is. Didn't go perfectly, but we stuck to those colors for some really powerful reasons. The Mythic Uncommon and the literal Mythic White spell. So we'll see how it plays out for us. Maybe it'll be 0-3 and out, and that would be fine. That means that the video's done. We got it up there for y'all. But if we 7-0 and out, that'd be great too, because then we get max prize out and maximum speed. I'd just be kind of unhappy if we go like 4-3. Oops, accidentally minimized arena. If we go like somewhere between 4-3 and 6-3, because that's going to take the maximum amount of time and like not be max prize out, you know? So if we're going to lose big, let's lose big. Or if we're going to lose at all, let's lose big and just 0-3 or 1-3 at it nice and quick. I think we're supposed to just curve out right now. No forager value. Because it's going to be a really long time until we have the cards in grave. Got a couple creatures that come with a food token, but not like a ton. Okay, 3-4 blocker. Druid lets me get in here. Actually, Warren Elder's ability already does, but... Alright, that looks fine, actually. Okay, that's cool. Then I'll play another Forager. See if they play more good stuff on the ground, then I'll send in a flyer. Otherwise, I'll play the head of the homestead. Go wide here. Another guard mouse. Okay. That's annoying enough on the ground to drop Provisioner. Counter on Forager. I've got that Warren Elder mana next turn, so I'm not just going to trade Forager into guard mouse again this turn. Repel Calamity, the Provisioner, dang. So much for the flying swings. Hey, rabbit response. +2/+1. Okay, so that'll be good for later, but for now we're just threatening the Warren Elder trick. Let's see their own trick. Sure, that's a 1-for-1 trade. I'll trade Curious Favor, or sorry, Curious Forager for your Mabel's Medal. Whisker Quill Scribe. I'm going to play all the lands, so if I hit a land, I'm on double Warren Elder, or Warren Elder plus Rabbit Response next turn. No! The Elder's gone, so I can't double up its trigger, but I can still cast one Rabbit Response. That'll hopefully be pretty good. And it looks like our opponent might be flooded-ish. Wild Guide's a great draw. I'm a mana off from doing that and Rabbit Responsing. So I guess I just do that for now. Okay. That's a fair trade. My top deck for yours. I can look out and still Rabbit Response. We'll do that. Boop. Go. Oh, I put a Banishing Light on bottom. Depressing. Those are not great draws right now. But that's okay, because we're ahead on board. So we don't need to draw that great. And Intrepid Rabbit is a great draw. Ridiculously good. Gotta send in the O2. Gotta send a message with your Sunshower Druid. Carrot Cake's a good draw in a top deck where you get that double scry. Try to find what you need, you gain life, and you get 2 chump blocks. It definitely doesn't put them ahead or anything, but it definitely buys them time to find the good spell, and they did scry to the top. 3-tree Mascot is not nothing. It is just some more damage. Back down to 4. Here's my 2-1. And let's see what that draw is. Another Carrot Cake. All right, it's a good one. That kills my 2-1 and a 1-1, and they're up to 7. If they just draw a Carrot Cake every turn for the rest of the game, I'm pretty sure they grind it out and win. Ooh, no, they don't. We are the better drawer. Yeah, there's a concession from our opponent. We get to kill a 1-1. We get to trample in with 3 power off that. That's 6 damage no matter what. Not quite lethal, but very close. And then there's nothing they can draw to get out of that. So we start things off 1-0, heading into round number 2. I have no water beside me. I should have grabbed the water pre-recording. That's on me. I'm going to have the scratchiest throat later today. It's going to be wonderful. So if you want to know why, well, that'd be spoilers. Never mind. I was going to say, if you want to know why I had to record this and do no editing today, it's because another video that I'm recording went way longer than I thought it would, so I don't have time to edit and upload that, but I do have time to do a 1-hour draft and just upload it unedited. There's like a 3+ hour video coming up because the recording session alone was like 4.5 hours. That's I'm not going to go into any more detail than that. I was initially planning on it, but then I was like, wait, that'd be spoilers. Yeah, it's annoying. These Curious Foragers are just straight up 3 mana 3/2s. Because we keep drawing them in our openers. That's 2 openers in a row. We have both of them. You're supposed to top deck them late game. That's the idea. Arena disagrees. Says here's the Foragers right now. Get out there. Excuse me. This is worth the pressure. Stop. One Forager has been felled. This might be greedy to not just play the 4-power creature, but I'm 1 mana from getting its offspring. I feel like I'm always too greedy with this. Probably just play the 4/4. Oof, the Saver for more life gain. They're stuck on mana though, so not much more. Once again, not playing Rampager, because I know I offspring it next turn. Fell the Witness, well, would have just felled it anyway. Go big. If opponent starts hitting lands, we're so dead, because they're like 6 cards ahead here, 5 cards ahead. It's all spells over there. Oh! My favorite rare. Perfectly fair and balanced card. Vren the Relentless. I don't know if I've actually ever played against it on the channel yet, until tomorrow's video goes live. But this card is broken in half. Every creature we have that dies as long as Vren's on the board is going to let them get a rat that is a minimum of a 2/2, right? If they kill one of our creatures, they get a 2/2 rat because Vren's a rat, and so the rat gets +1/+1. If they kill 2 of our creatures, they get 2 3/3 rats. It's so stupid. And attacking is just worthless for the rest of the game unless you're going to lethal them, because anytime you trade, now they're just going to have like 5/5/5 rats on board because you traded and more of your creatures died and went to exile. So, guess I'll die. Vren is definitely one of that level of bomb rares. It's definitely a guess I'll die kind of card. Give it a couple draw steps here to see if we find anything to push through, but if not, I will probably be conceding today for the speedrun draft. They got the counter unless we pay 2, or the counter unless we pay 4. Got all that mana. They don't have a bird on board, so it would be counter unless we pay 2. All right, draw card. That's the big thing. Ooh. This is useless. Goodbye, forest. All right, one more turn. Yep, it's another rat. All right, it's a 3/3 now. I'm just going to say congratulations, Vren, on that one. And we are going to move on to game 3, 1-1. So we know our opponent has like 3 more spells in hand because they missed so many land drops in the middle. Technically, I could have drawn perfectly from there, like Hunter's Talent, Banishing Light in conjunction. Something like that. Slowly grinds it out. But I don't got time for slowly. 1-1 it shall be. Where are the quick drafters? Get in the pod! I guess this isn't the pod. This is the gameplay. Get in the games! Alright, here we are. Against the dragon from Streets of New Capenna. That's a good curve. It's not exactly a curve because they're all 2-drops, but those are good spells. And get the second green so I could play and level this up in the same turn. Corpseberry Cultivator. Well, oh shucks. All right, we take those. Thornplate Intimidator. Lose 3. All right, beautiful draw. Now I can expend 4 to kill that. Go team, go. They're down to 15. We drop a Provisioner and expend 4. And we level up the talent. Turn after that. Okay, well that's going to stop that. It distracts a little bit. 4/5 blocker. 6 mana. So level up. And Intrepid Rabbit. That was a really good draw. Make the attack actually viable here. I could just Provisioner up the Intrepid Rabbit to start drawing cards off of Hunter's Talent. If we get to 4, never mind. If we get to level 3, I should say. Okay. I can level it up and not draw any cards this turn anyway. It's better to just Provisioner here, setting up to draw the cards in the future. And I get a swing in this turn too, which is great. Pass the turn. No removal, please. I beg. Well, shoot. Could have attacked with everybody on the ground, giving the duo the buff, then they kill the duo for free to get in for 2 damage, I guess. I wouldn't draw the card because I wouldn't have a power 4. I think it was worth the risk just buffing the flyer there. We'd get the extra damage and we could draw the card if they don't have removal. I think that was the attack. Hello, we drew you at the right time now. Although now I'm going to have to listen to the Forge audio for the rest of the game because that audio is still glitched for me for some reason. So they double block this and we get Warren Elder back and then we kill them with Warren Elder's ability. I should have given 1 buff to Curious Forger actually, so we'd have a power 4 creature and we'd draw the card there. Just trying to play a little too fast. But we still find the win. We are 2-1 heading into game number 4 now. Luckily, the game didn't go on too much longer from when the Forge audio started. Can't believe that's still going on. Maybe nobody has submitted it in the bug reports. I should do that. I don't know. It really gets on my nerves. It's just repeating the same audio for the rest of the game. Well, this hand is good. Probably Wild Guide turn 4 expending for the duo. I mean, just the more the merrier with all the offspring cards, really. Get the extra bodies out there. Scottsy, where are you? I need to go through and equip the right emotes. I know I have more than these. Alright, we do have turn 4 Wild Guide. We just play Haven tapped turn 3. Ooh, I don't have to play a tap land. Let's curve out. Well, I do have the food for Forager, but I'm still going to curve out. Oh no. But I destroyed the audio to do it. The Forage audio haunts me for the rest of the game. No. Alright. Get out here, Wild Guide. Alright, it's quiet time, Arena. It's quiet time for the rest of this game. What if I just stay silent? Rest of the draft, no commentary, full speed ahead. It would be funny. But it would also probably be disappointing to most viewers. Pretty good use of all that Wild Guide mana. Oh, I should have played this. We don't have any discard in this deck. There's no reason to just hold on to this thing. That would have let me play a Rampager and put a counter on one of the Wild Guides still, even making the offspring tokens. That was a miss. I just forgot about the Haven. Head of the Homestead. Okay, well I can play that instead. Get a counter on one of the Wild Guides. Let's make sure I actually play this time. Well, that's max punished for not playing Uncharted Haven. We would have had the mana to pay for that since they don't have a bird. Tide Caller Mentor with full threshold is very good here. They get to kill our token forever. Beautiful swing of events for them. But they're still getting killed in the sky. Now they trade the 3-3 into the 4-3. Go to 5. And we play double Rampager, which they just can't block at all right now. All their creatures are power 2 or less. Another top deck land for our opponent. They still have 2 cards in hand, though. Hazel's Nocturne, that is a spicy one. And they still have Threshold now? That's really, really good. It's nothing to permanently kill the Provisioner, but they can put the Provisioner back in our hand. Choose to play the Dagger Fang duo here. Could permanently kill the Rampager token. Okay, just another land for us. So I attack with both. They trade up here. This gets in. That's 4 damage to them guaranteed. This gets trumped. I think I attack all. And they kill the 4/4 Rampager here. And chump block the Wild Guide. They don't have another choice there. And they just have a Tidecaller Mentor. They have to pick up the bird to not die, which means the Wild Guide is still on board, threatening lethal. Yeah, so they play this, pick up Provisioner, they have to chump block Wild Guide. And we put them to 1, putting the counter on the Raccoon. I should play land first. But I suppose I already have the 2 mana for their counter spell either way. But that way I wouldn't have to tap the Wild Guide to counter it. They have to chump Wild Guide, so I'm going to attack both, unless they have removal as the final card. Oh, Downwind Amateur is very good here. Yep, trade into Wild Guide, free kill on the 1/1. I guess it's just as good as just a removal spell would have been. And this is the top deck or they're dead moment. Either they top decked removal or they died a Provisioner. They did not top deck removal. The big bird will get there. Turns out Flyers are still good, and we are 3-1. At least a 50-50 run out of the Quick Draft speed run. We take those. Although to be in the money in Quick Draft or to get our entry fee back, we have to get like 5 or 6 wins. You have to go real far in Quick Drafts to get all the gems back. We'll see, though. We're doing solid so far. All right, another beautiful hand. Tender Wild Guide is back at it, putting in work. No Forage in the hand, so I'm turning the audio back on. For how long is the question? Do I curve out with Druid here? Nah. 3/3 is kind of like significantly bigger than a 2/2, so I'm going to play the Druid on turn 3. And a 3/3 that could expand into becoming a 4/4. Pretty good stats for Baker's main duo. Lookout puts the land into play tapped, right? Yeah. Not sure if I'm going to Lookout turn 3. It's the most mana efficient play, so probably will. Hunter's Talent coming up. Alright, no tricks, no spells, no response then. We'll play the Lookout. 5 mana to play around with here and a lot of different ways to spend it. Shrike Force? Alright, so Hunter's Talent is going to be part of it. 5 mana. I only have double green, though. I need triple green to do what I really want to do. So I guess it's Root Weaver and Hunter's Talent then for the expend and get the attack in. I have Crumb and get it against removal. Wanted to play the Druid and the Root Weaver and the Talent there. That would have been the maximum spread. Dark Star Augur, my favorite card in the format. I love it. Our opponent draws 3 cards a turn now. Or they get to trade some of those off to prevent themselves from dying to their abilities. Okay, let's expend 4. Okay. 4 power trampling duo. It's pretty good damage, and they don't have favorable blocks for it. Even without Crumb and get it. So we get that big damage in, and we hope that the Augurs shoot them big time here. 5. Alright. I was going to say land is a miss, but then a 5-drop. And there's the concession from our opponent. Feels good. During the early days of the format, I had some pretty bad experiences against the Dark Star Augur. With I basically always played against it when our opponent was on black-white, so they had tons of life gain early. All the bat tokens, not the bat tokens, the bat creatures that gain life every time you play a creature. A lot of food tokens and stuff. So I'm so used to Dark Star Augur just being such an insurmountable amount of card draw, which it is, but it does shoot you in the face a lot. So whenever an opponent dropped it without the life gain to go with it, that's when it's not so bad. And luckily, our opponent did not have any of the life gain to go with it there. All right, 4-1. Heading into whatever this game is. Game 6, then, mathematically speaking. Numerically speaking. Like the opener, we get to try out Burrowguard Mentor for the first time. Playing against green-blue frogs. Maybe I should start with 3-tree Mascot, so I can play Pond Prophet next turn no matter what. So if I miss a land, Pond Prophet helps dig. I should have played 3-tree Mascot, but I get real lucky and it don't matter. Get to play Pond Prophet and hold up Crumb and get it, and we're actually rewarded for our bad line. Nice. Hunter's Talent, no thank you. They spend another spell here, they had to spend a spell. A runaway together? Absolutely fine. Now they have to recast their thing too? Base is really bad right now. We definitely don't play that. Intrepid Rabbit's pretty good. I'll go with that. The 1/1 token just particularly good against the 2/1 mascot body. That 1 toughness is like so detrimental that I really try to avoid the mascot at all costs. Basically only ever play it in sealed when I really need to filter mana, or in decks where I've bounced around so much that I need just filler cards. Like, you know, filler artifacts that can end up in your deck no matter what colors you end up, as you can see here. Well, they can recast the Hunter's Talent now. Not the end of the world. Can Crumb and get it pretty well. Although, I'm not super mana efficient, I could double 2-drop here. Yeah, we'll see. Okay. I think I do Crumb and get it then. I don't want to play a good Hunter's Talent target right now. Well, I guess Burrowguard Mentor would have been out of reach anyway. If they've got a really high power creature for cheap. Yeah, I probably should have played Burrowguard Mentor, because the odds of them having a 4 power card for 3 or less mana are pretty low. It's not impossible, though. There's a couple cards that would have worked. Okay. Mentor and Elder feels good. Onboard attacks are still solid. And then Head of the Homestead's going to be a huge buff for the Mentor in the future. Yeah, that was a really bad line for me playing the Mascot instead of Mentor. Mentor would have been a huge attacker this turn already. Because we could have played Head of the Homestead this turn. Sky Skipper Duo, nothing to flicker. Massive attack is massive. They have to chump the Mentor and die. Or die that way. I guess it doesn't matter because they die no matter what. Well, no, they would survive with 1 life if they chumped Mentor. But barely. Okay. What are we, 4-1 now? Guaranteed positive record out of the draft? 5-1. Very positive record. We're 1 win away from being up in gems out of the draft. Let's go. A little bit of a bouncy draft, not a perfect one, where you're just really lucky and the colors you start are super open and you just stick to that path the whole time. But I think our pivots worked out fine. This was not a hand I should have kept. 1 drop and then 5 drop. There's like no in between. Yeah. A little autopilot-y there. But we ball. Let's roll with it. Go, Sunshower Druid. If this card were printed 5 years ago, it definitely would have been a 2-drop, and it would never have been playable in draft. It's kind of wild how far cards have come. 1 mana, 1/3, and gain a life is the worst this card can be. And you can put the counter somewhere else if you need to. It's wild. Well, we got some birds coming up. Some flyers. I guess this is not a bird, it's a bat. But we still got them. I'm not going to trick if they don't trick. I'll just take the trade. They doing the indestructible? They are not doing the indestructible, but that's also a 5/5, so I'd have to double trick. I guess I'd be killing the Nettle Guard and their trick, so I am killing 2 of their cards at the cost of 2 of mine. If they have a second trick, this will be bad. I could kill my food, but then I just eat it because I don't have anything to do with the 2. Yeah. Cool. That's a big stack you got there. Down to 17. Seed Pod Squire has arrived. I can attack that all day long. So I am not banishing it. Castrol, I'll banish that. Oh, that was a free block. I'm at 21. Oh, no, but it's a bird! Okay, at least the ability they went for doesn't matter too much, but that was a really bad don't block position there. We absolutely should have blocked. It was free. And it could have prevented something really bad. Like if they had a 5-drop bird in hand and they plopped it on board for free because of that, that would have been super, super bad. That was rough autopiloting there. And it still does matter, because now the Squire's a 4/4, which means it does stop the Witness. It certainly matters more on board. Yeah, no, that could actually be game ending, that this is a 4/4 instead of a 3/3, just because I forgot that the block was free. That they were tapped out there. Sure. Calamity has been repelled. Land pass. Lookout pass. Yeah, this is bad. We would be winning right now. They would probably be dead by now. But instead of attacking in where they have no good blocks, we just don't have any attacks. If this is a 3/3, these can both get in every turn and one of them hits. So we hit for 3 every turn because they can't block Provisioner well. Yeah, straight up. Game losing play there. They would be dead at least by the end of this turn, because we would still be getting attacks even with the duo on board. Loose. Play was loose. One single loose play can absolutely cost us this game. It's giving them all this time to stabilize and draw out of this, and they're working on it. They're certainly getting there. Off all these pawn profits. So much value. Thistle down players. Okay. Well, I have 3 cards in grave and no food, so I can't actually do anything with Forager yet. I need 1 more card in grave. Ah. Well, self-imposed loss there. 100% a victory if we had just blocked the 3-3. Just totally forgot Castro was going to trigger off of hitting us, so that blocking was very relevant and didn't notice. They were completely tapped out, so there were no combat tricks to play around. But Innkeeper's Talent is 100% the victory in a top deck board position. They're going to get 2+1 +1 counters every turn, and their whole board has ward now, basically. So we are not going to beat that, and it's going to take them like 5+ turns to kill us with it. So we move on. 5-2, heading into game number 8. 100% self-imposed loss. Had we played perfectly, they would have been dead. We have pretty much 100% confirmation of that, with how many turns we could have been swinging in the sky if their flyer was just a 3-3. They would have been at 0 by then. Okay. Pretty excellent hand. We are on the draw, so it'll be a bit slower. But I'm a fan. Start with a 4, so I have the pawn profit option open turn 2. Then we have the option of any of the 3/2 drops. If I start with the plains, I cannot pawn profit turn 2 no matter what. Well, the start of this game is the antithesis of a speed run right now. We may have an issue. I cannot speed the opponents up. They're playing at my usual pace. What is the Rock's name? Oh, Dwayne, because Dwayne the Rock Johnson. We can hang out with Dwayne for a little bit. It's cool. All right, opponent is on white. Say hello to Dwayne again. Boros. Warren Elder's the first play. Great aggressive card. Might not be the creature type of mice, but great aggro card. Let's roll out with the Mentor here. It'll be a 2/2 trample with a Crumb and get it up next turn. It's the most aggressive creature we can play because it's either a 1/1, a 2/1, or a 2/2 trample. It's not a 2/2 right now, but nothing we play is going to block anyway. Aw, you can't like shake the leaf at all. Stationary there. It is a cute board though. Alright, 3 mana, Seedglaive Mentor. It's rough. They're starting off with the Dream Curve. 2-drop into the Mentor is excellent. Every time. I'm gonna give them a food on attacks or blocks here. I guess if they block, then I don't have to give them a food. But on blocks, on the pawn profit, I'll have to give them a food to kill something. But it'll be a 3/3 pawn profit that can kill a 4/3 Seedglaive Mentor, even if they buff it with Warren Elder or some Valiant trigger. I don't think there's any world in which they would block here, because even if we didn't have a combat trick, they wouldn't want to trade. Especially if we did. Cool. Please don't just hold all your mana up. I will cry. Because then any trick in the book gets us. but I don't really have another option with the makeup of my hand here. I gotta just go for it. Alright, any trick in the book gets me. And they don't have to cast it till I cast mine. Take your food. This is why playing combat tricks on blocks sucks, because if they have instants in their hand, they have the free play here. Yeah, even if the plan was to curve out with more creatures, they can just 2-for-1 us instead, which is always a good deal. At least this is 2 cards in grave for the Forager. We're working on it. Intrepid Rabbit. All right, big Mentor swing. That's something. It's also a 3-2 blocker for the 3-2 Seedglaive Mentor, so even with a Warren Elder buff, they need another trick to get past the 3-2 Intrepid Rabbit. Probably the best draw on the deck there. So I could alternatively be at, what, like 10 life here and still have 2 Crumb and Giddits in hand and a Frog on board. But then they would have played another creature this turn, because they would have had all 4 mana up. Yeah, I don't know if we'll know how well this would have played. Do they have the Gnaw thing as well? Pretty nasty. The Gnaw is like +1/+0, yeah. And shoot another creature. It's just insane in a Valiant deck, excuse me. Well, I look pretty dead. They don't even need a trick in hand to get Mentor in without risk of it dying. I guess I could double block it. So they do need a trick. I lied. I just can't do the single block thing. Oh my god, the village can just target the Mentor every turn. But they can actually haste out on other cards. That's probably better. Wow, village is actually kind of sick in a Valiant deck. I mean, all of the villages have a pretty major downside of not tapping for non-creature spells, but this is great with Valiant cards when you're flooding. Just get a count on Mentor every turn. Make Nettleguard a 3/3 every turn. It's pretty dang good. Well, they don't have enough mana up to use Warren Elder anymore, so they have to have exactly Crumb and Giddit in hand for us to not kill Mentor on blocks, so they don't even attack. Fair enough. Root Weaver, Mascot, hold up, Crumb and Giddit, and pass. Waiting to Forager until there are 4 cards engraved so I can actually pick one up instead of just exiling 3 to say that we foraged. Start that audio. We want to actually pick something up. Yep. Mentor Rockface Village is just going ham right now. But they're tapped out of Warren Elder again. So if they attack, we can Crumb and Giddit. They can play just nice and slow here, though, where they just village the Mentor every single turn and we sit here top decking. They've got a snowballing threat that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger no matter what. Okay, let's see what your last card in hand is. Show me the money. It's their own crumb and get it. They had the monies. Well, no matter what, they could have stopped us from killing it then because the indestructible ability if they needed it. Well, look who's arrived. Oh, that's just going to kill Nettleguard. God dang it. But then I can Curious Forager back the Banishing Light. Yeah, so they Nettleguard and... Ooh, they missed it. Well, they can Nettleguard it later, but we got rid of all the counters from the Seaglaive Mentor no matter what. And these trades are good, because getting Warren Elder off the board is good. Getting Nettleguard off the board is even better. Actually, they're both good. Okay, fair enough. They bring it back, but they did let us get rid of all of the counters on it, which is beautiful. Exile those. I could take the Trampler, but Seaglaive Mentor can just get too big. And the Forage Audio returns. Ooh, the short bow also triggers the Valiant stuff every turn. All right, we can banish the Mentor, and they have a single Warren Elder on the board. And it's just a top deck war where we're ahead on board. I like it. I like the odds here. Kind of close to 50-50, but hey, better than I thought we were doing earlier. That Mentor was getting terrifying. Take my 5, because his Mentor's about to be gone anyway. We can balance out life totals pretty quickly. Oh shoot, I guess it is a 3-3. Since they have the short bow. It's a little harder to attack into, so we only attack with the 3-2s. Well, we're still ahead. They only have the mana to do the buff once per turn. Pretty close to the point of just declaring an all attack for lethal. Sack a 3-2 to deal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Probably worth sacking a rabbit to deal 8 damage. If they miss on their draw here. They definitely didn't miss. That's a 5-5 reach, trample, haste. And vigilance from short bow. Ooh, the vigilance is rough. For no counter swings now. Yep. This is bad. Maybe 5-3 here. Self-imposed, because we could have been 6-2 had we won the matchup against blue-white. And we 100% could have won that matchup, so if we lose this, we would have been 6-2, and who knows who the final battle would have been against. Could have been a 7 winner. But 6-3 would still have been up in the money. So, one rough punt from a positive outcome in terms of gems. Still definitely a positive win rate. Good run. Good run regardless, but punted out of some extra gems. Sad day. Oh boy. Yeah, now the whole board is vigilant. They're just going to hit the boar again? Sure. That is so much damage, isn't it? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Toughness. 7 toughness. 8 toughness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 power. They do not have the mana. What am I saying? They don't have the mana up for Warren Elder, so we can double block like this and high stride. They kill one creature. No, they kill both. They have 5, 6, 7 toughness. Dang it. I want to leave the 3/2s against the Warren Elder, but they can put both the bows onto the Elder and have it be a 4/4 base stats anyway. So the 3/2s don't even matter like that anyway. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I mean, I have to throw a 3/2 under the bus either way. We'll just lose 2 creatures here and the high stride. I guess I could like put the Root Weaver and the Lookout there, and then maybe they could like stack up damage in the wrong order. Be fine. Alright, that's a 4/4 that can buff itself up into being a 5/5 every turn. Not ideal. Hello, Sun Shower Druid. I guess you've arrived. I don't even know what I do with you. I get 2/4, I guess. We find our Offspring rare, that could win us the game slowly. 2 creatures that keep getting counters on themselves. Raccoon Rallier. Alright, any threats they draw are going to have haste, but that's already true with their Rockface village. At least most of their threats. Readjust myself. The draft has taken over an hour. No, the goal was about an hour or less for the recording. And we failed. Our final game has been a long one. Spread the threats out. Never mind, one big raccoon it is. One big hasty raccoon? Sure. You've killed another 2 of my creatures. Goodbye, 2/4. And 1/1. Plains. Oh, I actually had an attack with Mascot there. I should have done that. One of my last opportunities to actually sneak a 2/1 in. Whisker Quill Scribe guarantees our opponent will top deck better than us, as anything they draw that isn't worth it can just be Valiant triggered away with a short bow. I guess technically only once per turn, so if they hit a massive land clump, they can only get 1 out of the way. None of these are good enough here to do much of anything. Suppose Intrepid Rabbit's the best. It's going to give us a wider board state, and it's going to give us a bigger swing. Could Forger into Forger because it's funny, but I wouldn't have enough cards to Forge again immediately. Alright, we missed out on a couple points of damage last turn. So we could have hit them for like 6 over these 2 turns with this Mascot. The most filler of filler cards, turning into our beat stick in the end game. They could be down to 7 here, but instead they're down to 9. We'll see how relevant that ends up being. Apparently they drew something good. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just them figuring out how they need to short bow around, but that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, welcome to my face, Whisker Quill Scribe. Actually, not sure I would die on the spot. They can buff it, make it 5 power, so we need to block with 5 power of our own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5 toughness this way, so they need to do the Warren Elder trick in order to kill all of these cards. And tap out from doing anything else. No, they'd still have the 2 mana move the bows over here. Yeah, so just Warren Elder, move the 2 bows over is the play. And then we don't have attacks into the Elder. Well, now if we draw Bezos, we do draw 1 card. They've got a card in hand and we don't. That is not Bezos. So we pass. Brazen Collector, another card that can get haste from the Rock Face Village. And now they just send in with 2. Nope, just 1 collector again. Okay. I was going to say they could probably haste and then send with 2 like 4 power creatures and I have to just go chump chump. But maybe not. Maybe they're a little too stuck on mana there. All right, final top deck of the game is another Plains, and that'll do it. Pretty long one to end it off, unfortunately, especially when it grinds out into just a loss in the very end. But it is what it is. That was still a pretty quick draft of Bloomburrow and a pretty solid one. 5 and 3, I think, for this deck is pretty good, because I do think we waffled about a bit long in the draft and ended up with quite a bit of filler. I think the 3-tree mascot, super bad in this deck. There's not a lot of other like terrible cards in here, but Root Weaver's not great in here. Sunshower Druid's not great in here. There's just no synergy for those. Forgers aren't great in here. This is not great in here. Just having some flyers was fine. Some of these cards still played fine. This was awesome. This is awesome. This is pretty good in here. These little cheap tricks are exactly the kind of stuff we want. Yeah, I think these cards are the cards that are like pretty filler, like significantly better in other deck lists, like this significantly better in Squirrels with more consistent food production, this significantly better in Frogs, this significantly better in Frogs. This is just bad in a 2-color deck, and we didn't have that much to ramp into for Root Weaver, so, a big clump of kind of awkward cards for the deck. This core to the deck, all these cards were quite solid, but you can definitely tell we were dancing around and waffling about in the draft pod for a bit of a weaker deck. So 5 and 3, super reasonable for the deck list, and had we played perfectly, we'd be at 6 and 2 right now in contention for the finals. So I'll take that. That was a great draft for a little speed run there, even if I speed ran myself into an early grave. against the Flyers deck. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.